Coming up.
I just want to shake some sense into you kids.
I never get tired of that.
Nope.
Preferably with a paint shaker.
Damn straight.
Hello and welcome, everyone. And we were going to talk about Forbidden Zone tonight, but none of us had time to watch it.
Yep.
Because life and shit. Because we're adults.
Yeah.
We're adulting.
Yeah. God, I hate that.
Me too. I hate that fucking word. Oh, I'm adulting.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
you. I'm glad
everybody does.
You know what? I'm glad I'm an adult. It means I can do whatever the fuck I want. And if I screw up, it's my own fault.
Yeah.
I don't have another person telling me what to do, or, you know, I don't have to suffer because someone is my fucking parent.
Yeah. I mean, and it gets me, I have to work this shitty job if I want to eat. What makes you fucking special and different from the rest of humanity and the entirety of human history?
Yeah. You know, you're lucky that your job is working Starbucks and not plowing a fucking field.
Oh, fuck that.
Don't get me started on people today bitching that they have it so hard as they sit in their fucking condo in Manhattan Island screaming that they're poor, while there's people in India digging through mountains of trash to find something to sell or eat just to survive, and also taking the risk that they might be crushed by said mountain of trash.
Well,
that's
a little unfair, Janelle, because there are people in Manhattan living at the bottom of those buildings doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. I look down from my penthouse and feel so poor with my view of Central Park.
Okay,
Fuck
everyone.
you.
Before we get on with the show, those of you who wanted to know, Boobs of Steel, the new cover is now available in paperback.
Yay!
So here we've got the new improved cover. Go out and tell everyone to read it.
Yeah.
So I have a collector's edition.
Yes, you have the short run collector's JEC cover edition.
Yes.
Oh, I have two of them because I bought one and then you guys sent me one. So I feel
With
special.
a signature, no less.
Yeah, I know. Collector's edition, man. I love it. So I have something I want to rant about tonight, and it does pertain to writing. I don't know if you've seen the Hubbubaloo, but somebody decided to hit up ChatGPT, and as the crisis in Maui is going on right now, wrote about the crisis in Hawaii and is selling the book on Amazon. I know Amazon's really been doing their best to try and clear out the AI, but some asshole decided to exploit the situation and put a book out while people are still dying in Maui. And did you also hear that our government is so kind? Each person in Maui is going to get $700 to get themselves back on their feet.
There is a reasoning for this, and they fucked it up. What it is FEMA can't cut a check more than $700 to individuals without congressional approval.
No, I really doubt that our Congress would approve of anything else. I mean, they got to line their pockets first.
It is a thing. Well, FEMA's full of incompetence nowadays. It used to be run by people who actually had their shit together.
It used to be run by people that were ready to survive a nuclear war.
Yeah.
I remember when Ishii lost his house due to the cedar fires in San Diego. FEMA actually worked really damn well.
We were like, this is a government organization?
Yeah.
Well, what it is they got to get approval to do it. So $700 is the most they can cut with an emergency, and that's supposed to keep you going until they actually get the authorization to move and then release more funds. But the problem is number one, we don't know if they're going to get around to it. Number two, inflation has made $700 the equivalent of $400. So it's big problems. And of course, then you find out that, they wouldn't activate the sirens. They cordoned off certain streets so people couldn't get out. And finally, the guy wouldn't release the water because water is to be respected, not used.
Oh, no, not respected. Worshipped and revered were his words.
Yeah, and not used.
Not used. Yeah.
I gotta say that the pictures that were coming out of what's it called? The historic city. I know it because my parents went there. I want to say Lanai, but it's not Lanai. It's Lana something. Anyway, it looked like the opening to Terminator 2. The picture you got right there, that looks like the opening to Terminator 2.
Yeah.
They were talking about that they found people in their cars sealed in. It came so fast they couldn't even escape.
Well,
And
they're saying, oh, the death count's only at 10.
Oh, no, it's not. It's okay.
No.
I heard recently it's 100, but they actually think that it's triple that. They just haven't been able to account for everybody. And they said they're pretty sure a lot of bodies burned to ash, so they're never going to find them.
They're going to pull the same thing they pulled during Paradise. I don't know if you guys ever saw the video, but there was a couple people who went into the Paradise area after the fires and filmed these long lines of cars filled with burnt up skeletons. I mean, we're talking 30, 40 cars in a string. Just film them. And, you know, they're like, the death toll from this is massive. But then the government came out and said, oh, yeah, 3 people died or some shit like that. And it's like, I saw more than that in a convoy.
Lahaina. That's the historic city.
But I love how it stopped right before the mansions. They stopped it right at the mansions.
Of course they did. I mean, that's what they did in San Diego during the Cedar Fire. When it started going to Rancho Santa Fe, they stopped that shit quick.
And then they're like, the government is all, oh, we're going to go ahead and acquire the land.
Well, in all fairness, in Rancho Santa Fe, the rich people actually have their own fire department. That's why it was stopped, whereas the rest of California didn't. We had a shit fire department. But yeah, they're seizing that land, which technically they're not allowed to. It's essentially like a holy site for the Hawaiian religion.
Yeah.
In the deal with Kamehameha, they had said they had agreed never to take that land.
Yep.
Wow.
And now they're seizing it.
Yep. Well, you know, because they want to build the rich and powerful right there.
Oh, well, I mean, I think we've talked about this before. When Steve and I went to Hawaii, this was Oahu, this wasn't Maui. We went for our 5th anniversary, and we didn't stay in any resorts or anything. We actually rented a condo from a local, but what we saw was really sad. Is we saw people that were locals. And when I say locals, these are people whose family have been there for centuries. They're actual descendants of the Hawaiian natives. Had signs up protesting the building of resorts on the Hawaii Islands because they're pushing them out. And it's getting as bad as Alaska, where they can't afford shit. And it's already hard to afford shit in Hawaii. You got to have everything shipped in. But yeah, it's the rich and powerful are going to build some more resorts and build some more houses and just fucking A.
And people are going, well, why didn't the Navy or the Air Force help? Here's what really sucks is you stand there on post and you watch all this happening and you can't do anything. You can't do anything unless the governor releases you or an officer goes rogue or you take leave, because you have to stand there because it's illegal for the federal troops to go in and help with disaster relief. It has to be either National Guard or they have to release them. So everybody's like, well, why couldn't they do anything? Well, they couldn't. Legally, they can't.
Yeah.
They have to stand there and watch everything burn down and go, well, fuck, you know, I'm standing right here next to a fucking 50,000 gallon truck. I guess I'll just, you know, play a Hoonie Pop on my phone because fuck. And they didn't try to mobilize anything. They didn't try to save anybody. The government just sat there with their thumb in their ass.
Okay, now real quickly, I want to share a picture of the Democrat asshole who was managing this. I think we all need to see this fucker's face. This is the guy who's decided, here's $700, we're seizing your land.
Of course,
This son of a bitch. Look at this dude. This guy, why would anyone trust this son of a bitch? Look at him. He looks like somebody who's trying to screw you over a used car.
He looks like a woke piece of shit. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like, they all have a certain look about them now.
It's called
He looks like a
sociopathy.
piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's called being a sociopath.
Yes.
Speaking of military not being able to do anything, during the Cedar Fire, I remember when the fire started getting close to Miramar, Miramar said, "Fuck you," and jumped in. Yeah, so, I mean, they'll jump in, I guess, when the fire's right up on their
Well,
backyard.
Then they can.
I can answer that. I can answer that one, Janelle. Where the fire was, and keep in mind, because my parents' house got burnt down, I was living with them at the time. That block became the fire break, the block I was living on.
Oh, no.
And everything right next to it, though, keep in mind, this is why the military could step in, is technically everything around that neighborhood was military land.
Yes.
And that is why they could step in.
That's the crash zone.
Right.
Yeah.
So then they could do it. Then they could go out there. It's because the earthquake in, like, what was it, 91, 92? Or was it 93?
Which one?
It was 91, I think. No, 92. Northridge was
92.
92.
Northridge earthquake 92, where the overpass collapsed.
Yeah, it was 92.
I thought it was 94.
In California.
That was in 89.
No. The one in the 90s.
That Candlestick Park was 89.
Candlestick Park was 89.
The only reason I know that is because my grandparents lived in Stockton, and my mom called panicking, and my grandmother said the chandelier is swinging so hard it's hitting the ceiling and breaking.
Yeah, the guys at Fort Ord had to sit there with their thumb in their ass.
Oh,
and they couldn't. And the guys at Fort Irwin had to sit there with their thumb in their ass for the first, like, 12 hours.
So the shitbag who's responsible for all this, who let this happen, the Democrat.
Yeah.
He's from New York. Yet another fucking New Yorker.
You want to hear something else?
Is he the same guy that said water should be respected?
No, that was some other nut job.
The sheriff, this is going to get you. The sheriff in charge of that region is the same sheriff that was in charge of Las Vegas when the Las Vegas shooting happened.
Oh, shit. Really?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
By the way, Trista was right. I thought it was 92. It was 94.
Yep, you were right. It was 94. They looked it up. You were right. Oh, I thought you said 90. Thought you said 94.
I heard her say 1994.
I remember it very clearly because my bedroom, not the rest of the house, just my bedroom moved a quarter of a foot off of the foundation of our house in Inglewood.
Well, trying to figure out which
also haunted.
which earthquake in California is like which jelly bean in the bowl.
Yeah,
right. Dude, that Northridge earthquake was so nuts that when we felt it here in East County, the water in our pool was sloshing out.
Yep.
And that was in East County. I cannot imagine the Los Angeles metro area, how it was.
That happened to my aunt whose house was in Burbank, actually. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was a fucked up earthquake. That was worse than the Candlestick Park earthquake in '89 because it was during the World Series. I remember that too.
But yeah, the funny thing is it was power lines again. Seems like power lines are causing a lot of problems, and it gets me. These power lines have been up there for 100 fucking years, and only in the last 10 years have they been big problems.
That's what got me too about that, finding out about the power lines. In the area of San Diego where we were living in around with Janelle,
it was always a Mexican.
Well, it was always a Mexican that started the fire.
It was always a Mexican deciding he was going to start a campfire to cook something.
Yeah. But we didn't have power lines because they were all underground. We moved out here and I started seeing power lines again because I hadn't seen them since, I lived in Inglewood. And on the news, almost daily, they put out bulletins warning people about power lines. And if you see them go down, report it. Another thing, I mean, they are on top of it, making sure people are aware of how dangerous they are because in the heat, the power lines are sagging. Because they're expanding and sagging in this horrible heat, and they're really on top of making sure there's no danger or very minimal danger. So that shocked me when I found out about Hawaii.
Well,
I mean, come on, they get
Georgia's-
hurricanes there. They should have something about power line danger.
well, there was one guy online who apparently is a Hawaiian native who said he saw it start.
Yeah.
And he said what it was is a fire got kicked up when a power line went down, but they didn't put it out all the way. They left.
Oh my God.
They just left while it was smoldering.
And the reports I had heard was that the firefighters showed up, said that it was 100% contained, and then it flared back up again.
Well, what it is they've looted these infrastructures and they put their friends in charge.
Yep.
And now nobody competent is running anything.
That is absolutely true.
I am looking forward to this weekend because we're having a hurricane hit. So we're having a big hurricane is hitting, and it's actually going to be as far inland as where I am.
Is that Hurricane Hillary?
The one that's coming up off the coast of Mexico.
That's Hurricane Hillary.
Okay. Oh God. Last year we had a hurricane hit and it destroyed all the apple crops at the apple orchards in Julian. So Julian got fucked over because that's a big part of their income. And apple picking season starts this weekend and another hurricane is hitting. And I can tell you right now, the county of San Diego is not set up for hurricanes. We never have been. This is something kind of new. We get monsoons, we get big storms, but hurricanes?
Well, that's
about
like
thunder and lightning and flooding, and it's going to be real interesting this weekend.
Well, that's another one of those once a century kind of things for California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it does
keep them
happen.
coming, baby.
It's just not, as far as a human time scale, it isn't common.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying this is global warming because I'm just saying that, climate changes naturally. So sometimes we're going to get fucking hurricanes. We don't have the infrastructure for it because it's California.
Okay, Ralt's, we got one. Here's one that we should talk about because both you and Kat probably have opinions on this. Lasers started the fire. It's like, really? Come on. 60 cents for a box of matches is all you fucking need. You don't need $1 billion space laser to start a goddamn fire.
I've had people because I mentioned that, the big thing it'll do is cause a sound like a thunderbolt.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, no, according to the U.S. military, directed energy weapons are silent. It's like, that is a different type of weapon.
Yes, that is different.
Oh, and if clouds and atmospheric attenuation bother it, why can they use laser distancing and other lasers from the It's just shut the fuck up.
It's different.
Is this not the same kind of laser, you shithead?
It's not the same fucking thing.
Excuse my ignorance, but I've heard them say that lasers aren't supposed to make sound. But I thought they did because they superheat the air. Am I wrong?
Bingo.
Lasers of that intensity do.
Yes.
Yes.
If the laser's going to
If you're just
All right,
depending on high intensity light, that's one thing. But this is supposedly got so much potential energy that it touches a tree and the tree instantly bursts into flame.
Yeah.
That's a lot of thermal transfer. But everybody's got all these fucking reasons. They put silencers on them. That's
you can't put a silencer on a laser.
Sorry, okay.
Yeah.
I am a normie, and I would know that you can't put a silencer on a laser. What the fuck?
Can I repeat the story your dad told me?
Yes, because I was about to do it.
Okay, you do it.
Well, when my dad worked at HARP, and
that wasn't lasers, though. That was high frequency radio waves.
Well, he also talked about how they were experimenting with lasers there.
Oh, okay.
And I asked him about it.
Well, he worked on the SDI, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And
wait, tell the Zoomers what an SDI is.
It's a big belt of dollar bills surrounding the Earth that prevents the ICBM launches.
Yeah, exactly. yeah, it's supposed to shoot the shit down before it gets to you. You can probably explain it better, Rob.
It was the best scam ever.
Yeah.
Project HARP means High Altitude Research Project.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just remember bringing it up to my dad about lasers, and he goes, "No, they don't work." I go, "What do you mean they don't work?" He goes, "No, they don't work." You know, well, what do you mean? Explain. He goes, "Well, what I can tell you is this. You know how lightning works?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "It's the same thing, and the only difference is that they try to do it sustained, and because of air currents, it blows that lased current of not air all over the fucking place, so they couldn't control it." So you can't tell me that you can have an orbital laser, because the same fucking thing will happen. You won't hit your target.
It's like, oh, I just gave up arguing because, all of a sudden everybody's an expert on lasers, even though they don't know what laser means. And for those listening, it is light amplification through stimulated emission of radiation.
Indeed.
And most people have no idea that's what it means. It's like they don't know that taser is basically Thomas A. Swift's electric rifle.
Yes.
That's what the acronym is.
That laser was an acronym.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Laser is an acronym. Taser is an acronym. Yep.
The same with maser and grazer. Grazer is gravity amplification, and maser, I think, is mass. Anyway, yeah. And I tried arguing with some of these people and then just gave up, because holy fuck, are they suddenly experts on directed energy weapons. Quickly, go out and use your powers for good and join fucking DARPA.
Like, yeah, and I'd like to sell you basically a lightsaber for $40. You can get it on Amazon.
Yeah. It's like, holy shit. Well, they make surgical lasers. Yeah, and the surgical lasers has like 2 inches, and you can hear that fucker humming and crackling the whole time.
It's not handheld. The thing is fucking huge.
Yeah. Well, they could just put it normal. Are you fucking kidding me? The fucking energy bloom from that. Jesus.
Okay,
No.
Throw in.
Oh, what? Talk about the railgun?
No. That's a different story. That one was funny.
That one was very funny.
No, I was thinking about the time your dad said he was at, is it Yuma, where the bombing range?
Yeah, I think so.
Where he said he was up there and they were testing ground-based laser missile defense.
Yeah.
And they were trying to use lasers to shoot missiles down. And we're not talking like ICBMs. They were talking like Scuds.
Yeah.
And he said flat out the big problem they kept running into was you could have a coherent laser up to a point, but after it hit a certain distance, it would like start whipping back and forth like a whip as the wind blew the atmosphere, and you had a prismatic effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's because it's pushing all the fucking it's pushing all the debris in there.
Yeah, so you'd have these, like, the laser would just start getting squiggly,
and you couldn't hit jack shit.
And that
because of the prisms.
See it with your eyes, you had to use instruments to see it.
Yeah.
It's like
the one thing I know about lasers is that I like my Gatlin laser in Fallout, and it makes people turn to ash. I'm sorry, I'm such a normie when you guys talk about this stuff. I'm like, I like my laser weapon in Fallout.
For me, I love lasers. I don't know as much as I would like, but I know enough because my playground as a child was the lab in Real Genius.
God, I loved that lab.
That's where my dad worked. And so he'd bring me into the office and he taught me about lasers. And it was pretty fucking cool.
It's because lasers are cool. And Real Genius is a fantastic movie. And I wanted a laser so I could blow up popcorn in my house.
And I love the idea that the laser could shoot through that thick of cloud cover.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the railgun story was, I was talking to your dad and I was telling him about when I was at the design school, learning 3D modeling. And one of the teachers, his father worked in the defense industry. I think it was actually General Atomics.
Yeah.
And that's why I mentioned it, because your dad worked for General Atomics for a while. And the teacher said, yeah, I was going through all my dad's stuff. And I just brought this in because it's kind of neat. Look at this. And we're looking at it. And this is blueprint. He says, that's a railgun. And we're looking at it. He says, this railgun, but how could you make that work? Oh, this is supposed to be in space. And I mentioned that to your dad, and your dad says, no, I'm not talking about it.
Yeah. It's like, that's interesting.
The look he gave me, his eyes got real
Interesting.
big. He said, where is this? I said, Platt College. Oh, that's interesting.
Look,
I would not be surprised if that teacher got his house raided.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, you
didn't
said your
say
dad
it
worked for
still
General
had the
Atomics?
stamp of top secret on it.
Yes. Not top secret. It had some other. It did not say top secret. It
But
said
it was
something
else, like classified.
It had some sort of clearance on it. It did not say top secret.
Yeah, there's whole other fucking. It might have been fucking. What is that called? SAP.
It's SAP.
SAP with a keyword. That's Special Access Project.
Probably.
Clearance doesn't matter. What matters is you have access to the project.
Right.
That sounds about right.
Kat, what year did your dad
That's what I
work at
worked
General
on.
Atomics? Because my uncle worked for General
Oh.
Atomics, and he was sent to France, and he helped design their nuclear power plants.
That must have been sometime between 80 and 86. No, 84. 80 and
Okay.
84.
My uncle was long gone by then, but yeah, he was the one that the French government brought over, and he designed their power plants, their nuclear power plants.
Have you heard the big thing now? It turns out that at one point, the Department of Energy created a bunch of nuclear power plants that only produce, I think it's between 5 and 15 megawatts steady output, and they were designed to you put a swimming pool sized concrete shell down, and you drop this thing in, and you've got one access panel to reach it, and then they covered up with dirt, and it was to provide like houses and neighborhoods nuclear power. And they've got hundreds of them sitting there because they ended up with a bunch of injunctions to stop it. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, that's interesting you mentioned that because I remember back in the aughts, Elon Musk brought that exact same concept up, saying, well, we could solve this with this.
Mm-hmm.
We could run whole neighborhoods off of these.
The whole thing
is exactly what you described.
Those generators were developed in the 1970s for the Soviet Union's lighthouse program. There were lighthouses that were built in the 1960s. The whole thing was automated, ran off of a nuclear power plant, and was lighthouses out on the coast. So they didn't have to man it. They didn't have to run power. And then there was these reactors that were the size of like a VW van that just sat there, providing power to fucking remote areas. And we never went anywhere with that because every time we tried, the eco groups would jump up and start screaming.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking tired of the eco groups screaming that nuclear power is bad when it's been proven that, solar, hydro, wind does more damage. Yeah.
The eco groups won't be happy till we're all fucking dead.
Yeah.
That is very clear. They just hate humanity. That is all they are. They're not about solutions. And there's been so many people that have left the environmental movement saying they don't want solutions. They want us dead. Mm-hmm. They want humans gone.
Well, maybe they should kill themselves first.
They should start with themselves.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I agree. Well, there was Chris Korda. No, I'm not making this up. Chris Korda. Chris Korda was ahead of the curve. Hold on. Go ahead and talk.
Female?
Oh, that's the fun part.
Uh-oh. I can't wait.
Chris Korda was way ahead of the curve.
Okay. Blue hair.
Oh, now.
Of course.
Chris Korda, daughter of was born male, okay? And let's see.
He's launched the campaign Unabomber for president?
Yes.
What?
The fuck?
And they had a band called 6 Billion Humans Can't Be Wrong. And Chris Korda advocated suicide to save it was selling shirts that could save the planet, kill yourself.
Did they lead by example?
Good question. They're still alive, apparently. Started the first church of euthanasia.
Of course they did.
God.
Yeah.
The first
That is
church
a
of
winner.
euthanasia. Meanwhile, down the street from us, we have the I forget what they call themselves, but they've just decided they're not going to die. Yeah, that it's embarrassing to die, so they're just not gonna.
Oh, God.
What did you find?
Oh, nothing. It's just, yeah. Come on. Where's the picture? The old picture. This person, I remember, I think they came on Art Bell once.
Huh?
And it was batshit.
Did they understand the show they were going on?
I have no idea. But yeah, they were advocating for suicide and anal sex
Ugh.
as the solution to all their problems.
In that order?
Yes.
I don't think a lot of people are happy with compacted poop.
Oh dear God.
Wow.
Oh. Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Wow.
So yeah, Chris Corda kind of was one of those people that would pop up from time to time in the 1990s.
Mhm.
There we go.
Wow.
Yuck.
Oh,
And I'm not going to give you
shit!
an
Shut up!
apology.
Shut the fuck up! There we go. Anyway,
Did not mean to do that.
how we doing? Hello.
That was interesting. I kind of wish I had some eye bleach. Yeah.
Every fucking time, isn't it?
Yeah, every fucking time.
Anyway, lasers.
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 So-
Lasers.
Yeah, it why fire off a laser from space when you just need a match.
Well, you know, when I was living in Oregon, we had a rash of fucking fires, and we're talking. It was during the day, and it was always starting in the residential areas, and it was burning homes and some businesses, to the point where they brought the FBI in, right? And there was wildfires out in fields and stuff. And then the FBI goes, "Oh, we stopped it. It was a homeless mentally ill woman." And that she took the bus to these places and started the fires, and everybody was like, and then the FBI left, and the fires stopped, and everybody was like, I don't know, man. It was really weird because she was just going out there with a lighter and let's not forget the guy that caused all those California wildfires that they were blaming on global warming. It turned out to be some liberal professor driving around and throwing burning newspaper out of his car.
Yeah, I heard about that.
It's always that, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's either that, or in California, it's either some nut job, or it's an illegal alien who doesn't fucking know better.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when they caught the guy, they found the guy that started the first big San Diego fire,
The Cedar Fire.
Mm-hmm. And they had to put him in hiding because so many people were trying to kill him.
Yeah.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
That burnt down a quarter of San Diego County. So many people lost stuff.
He was thrilled to go back to Mexico, though.
Yeah. Well, that's just the way it goes.
But yeah, you don't need some 007 type
No.
shenanigans. 9 times out of 10 it's something really stupid.
Okay, so which fire was it where we had all these fires going up and it was just some liberal asshole?
Shit, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think that was the one that was right before we left.
Wait, wasn't that during COVID? Where they were going out and lighting
Yeah.
the highways on
Yeah.
fire in Oregon?
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so it was right after we left.
And yeah, the thing is yes, there are terrible people conspiring against us. Unfortunately, there are plenty of other terrible people that are acting independently because they hate humanity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like Chris Corda. I mean, right now, I think we're seeing an abundance of people now that law enforcement doesn't do anything in blue states. you're seeing people that generally just don't like humanity getting away with terrible things.
Mm-hmm.
So buy a gun.
Well, you're hearing all the time, oh, is your stuff really worth their lives? Is their lives really worth my stuff?
Yeah.
And they don't get it. See, let's take a look at my computer. They'd be like, oh, your computer will be replaced. Well, what about all the hours I spent working a shit job to make the money to buy my computer instead of, I don't know, sitting at my fucking desk, scratching my balls and shit posting on the internet, or taking my granddaughter to the park to have fucking popsicles? What about the hours of my life? Don't those count? Does he feel that his life is worth my shit?
Well,
And I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna use a gun. I'm not gonna use a gun. I'm going to use a machete and an erection. How much do you want my stuff?
Yeah, you know what? No, actually, that's a really good point. I mean, it's funny, but no, think about it. Because of movies and television, it's already hardwired into our minds that if you get shot, you're just going to die. It just, that regardless of the reality, if you are shot, you're going to die. But a dude with a gun, a dude with a knife, that's something else.
No, a machete.
Yeah, a machete. Now that's grievous bodily harm. That's pain. That's suffering.
Yeah.
And I'm not putting on my pajama pants. I'm coming out there with my erection. And if you don't like it, well, maybe you shouldn't be in my house.
Exactly.
So I was looking up this dude, Chris Corda,
Mm-hmm.
the first Church of Euthanasia. And lo and behold, it's another spoiled rich kid from New York.
Are you serious?
Yes, whose parents worked in Hollywood, and her father.
Of course.
Her father was
His.
Yeah, Tranny Boy's father was the producer for Thief of Baghdad, Third Man, Things to Come. So it's a spoiled rich brat again.
So like Carlos Maza,
Yeah.
there's another one.
Anyway.
How is it that it's always these spoiled fucking brats? Always these spoiled fucking brats that want to tell us that, oh, money doesn't buy happiness, says the person who's rich. Oh, being attractive doesn't really matter, says the person who is beautiful. Why?
We've got to stop capitalism, says the asshole that's trying to squeeze money out of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Landis.
Oh,
Max Landis. Yeah,
What
he's a good
prick.
example.
There's an was it affluenza piece of shit.
And I woke up and I had an $800 pair of jeans in my hand, and I don't know how I got it. All I know is that I was really high, and I was too embarrassed to return it. It's like, fuck you.
Oh my God.
And these people think that $800 for a pair of pants isn't, oh, it's a little expensive.
No. My fucking God, no.
No, that's, for most people, that's car payment and food.
Mm-hmm.
I had to work at a school that was in a very wealthy area of San Diego. And I can remember listening to the young boys and girls talk about how they were upset because they only got the $250 pair of denim jeans that they were wearing when they wanted the $500 pair of denim jeans, and that life was not fair. That was fun. That really, it wasn't. I remember listening to like the wealthiest kid at the school was always flashing his money and then would say so loud, oh, everybody's trying to take my money all the time. Everybody comes up to me and uses me as an ATM. But the fuck would stand there with his wallet and start, checking his bills. And I'm like, really, dude? Really? And why are your parents giving you that much pocket change to bring to school? You're just asking to get jumped. This was in Point Loma, by the way.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm shocked he wasn't jumped.
Well, yeah, it was really weird because you had all the rich kids from Point Loma, and then you had all the kids from South Bay who were gangbangers bust in. It was a really interesting school to work at. It was either they were super poor or they were super rich, and the class divide was unreal. There was no racial divide at that school. There was a literal class divide. The poor kids went on the bottom field and hung out, and the rich kids stayed in the lunch area. But yeah, just listening to them bitch that they got only the $250 jeans instead of the $500 jeans, I'm like, Jesus, I would kill to have $250 to buy groceries and pay my bills. That'd be fantastic. For a fucking pair of jeans? Are you kidding me? So yeah.
Shit.
You know,
And then I work. Oh,
seems
sorry.
that spoiled rich kids are the plague upon society.
Yeah.
It's not
Yes.
even their parents; it's their kids. Seriously.
It's been like that through history, though. I mean,
Yeah, they're always saying eat the rich. No, eat their children.
Yeah.
well,
That's
I
simple.
mean, that's history has shown that knights weren't these chivalrous guys that ran around and were heroes. They were a bunch of fucking wealthy kids that would cause problems. So they would send them off to, fight wars and skirmishes. That's one reason they had the crusade with Jerusalem. They sent all the sons that were knights that were causing problems off to Jerusalem, cause problems over there.
Well, that and 800 years of Islamic intrusion up into Spain and France.
That is true as well. Yes.
Everybody always
I-
skips that part. Oh, it was completely unprovoked, and then you look at it, and you're like, oh wow.
There is a reason the Spanish Inquisition was so fucking brutal.
What's funny is the Spanish
Actually, yeah.
Spanish Inquisition laid down rules of evidence. A lot of times they'd roll up and these people would be like, "Oh, she's a witch," and they take one look and I'm like, "She's not a witch, you retard."
Actually, I'm curious. I haven't heard this part of history. I know about the Inquisition, but you said preceding it. Yeah, what led up to it?
I'm not sure what led up to it, but I do know it was the massive amount of invasion by Islam that led to the crusade.
It spun out of the Reconquista, and they were really chomping at the bit to punish the Muslims that had conquered the country, and it'd been like 700 years of being under their thumb, and they were just like, nope, fuck you.
You know what? Knowing how Islam is, I don't have a problem with that.
That's also what caused them to be all hardcore about becoming the new empire too, when they overtook the Portuguese when it came to exploration in the ocean. I'm trying to think of the word right now, but until they clashed with England, and England fucking sank the Armada.
Again, knowing how Muslims treat non-believers, I don't really have a problem with the Inquisition doing that. Seriously.
You know what's so funny? When I was in middle school and high school, and maybe you guys encountered this too, they talked about how when the Muslims had taken over the Middle East, that they were actually very fair. You had to pay a tax if you were an infidel, but all of this progress, all of this scientific things happened. And I was like, huh? And as I got older, I was like, that doesn't make sense, because you look at the way they've conquered, and they're not the ones that are the scholars. And it turned out that they were just taking credit for all the Jewish and Christian scholars.
Morgan Freeman in that Prince of Thieves movie did not exist.
Okay, we're going to throw another one out there. Here's the thing. They had to pay a tax. No, it's worse than that. If you were, what do the Muslims call the infidels that are under them, their control? They have a name for it. I forget.
Slaves?
No.
Dead?
Yeah, dead. No. If you live under Muslim rule and you're not Muslim, one, you cannot be richer than the poorest Muslim. You cannot have a house taller than the lowest Muslim house. Mm-hmm. You cannot have clothes better than the lowest Muslim clothing. Mm-hmm. And you have to pay a tax or they'll kill you.
Twaldi says kafar.
Kafars, yeah. The way they treat the kafar, you know what? Yeah, I'm not surprised that they got tortured. Mm-hmm. Not at all. I think the Spanish people probably were kind of itching to get some revenge.
Oh, itching is an understatement. They went on a full-blown, legitimate, justified rampage.
Tweldy. That's what happened to me. And
Fuck.
Tweldy lived in Saudi Arabia as a Christian.
Shit.
Oh my God.
So yeah, see, there you go.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I
we got to
can't
get him on
imagine.
sometime just to
Fuck.
talk about his experiences. He is one hell of a talker.
Mhm.
Actually, you know what, Tweldy, you've got a gift. You know, I'm not even religious, and I think you've got a gift for ministering. You really do. See, have you thought about the clergy?
He's all for coming on sometime.
Okay. Yeah, no, he's an interesting guy. I've talked to him
Oh,
a few
I know.
times on in the Discord.
He has sent me the funniest memes and clips on Instagram. I always get a couple of them a day from him, and they crack me up. I don't know if you get them too, Kat, but they're pretty funny. He's definitely got a sense of humor like us. Let's put it to you that way.
You know, something that makes me happy is thanks to the internet and thanks to the fact that everyone's so fucking skeptical now that we're re-examining history. And a lot of that stuff, like here, you know, wait, things weren't great on the Muslims.
Yeah.
Wait, you know, the Crusades were kind of justified. You know, wait, Lincoln was a piece of shit. I'm glad that this is coming out.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, I'm glad my dad is not alive to see that more and more evidence has proved what a piece of absolute shit Lincoln was. And my dad was one of the first people that said Thomas Jefferson was a piece of shit because he didn't even free his own children. The ones that he had with Sally Hemings.
Yeah.
Oh, no, apparently upon his death, he finally freed them. But before that, no, they were house slaves.
Jeez.
His own children. Yeah. Plus, he started the Democratic Party. So.
Well, he kind of he created modern America and destroyed we were the United States, not the nation of America. You know, see what I mean? That's his fault.
He's a real interesting character in history. Like,
Mhm.
you want to like him because he actually did do some pretty good stuff, but he was just a piece of shit at the same time. Like, you claim that you don't want slavery when you write the first draft of the Bill of Rights, but then the southern states are like, nope, we're not going to join this revolution that they all thought they were going to lose. They were literally like, no, we're not going to win this. They did not expect to win. And they were like, no, we have to have slaves. And so he took out, you know, there is no slavery allowed. And I found it very hypocritical that he's like, no, we shouldn't have slavery, but he was a fucking slave owner. In fact, nobody ever talks about, I'm going to go on a quick rant here. Nobody gives fucking credit to John Adams. Okay. John Adams was awesome. Yes, he had the personality of a brown paper bag, but the man did not believe in slavery. He paid his workers on his farm. When he wasn't being a lawyer in the city, he spent his weekends working his ass off on his farm with his farm hands. His wife was very competent, actually helped out with revolutionaries that were coming through. I think she actually helped Knox when he came through, and they were trying to get ammunition to one of the front lines. The man kept us out of the French Revolution because we were still struggling to get on our feet. And the French were like, okay, we helped you. Now come over to France and help us kill the royalty. He was like, no, we're not going to do that. We are still trying to get up on our feet. He definitely called out Benjamin Franklin for being a male whore, because he was. Benjamin Franklin was not that wonderful, genial old man that you see. The guy
He was a
loved
horny
to
bastard.
fuck.
Yeah.
He was a horny bastard. I believe he was part of the Hellfire Club. So that tells you something. And he was the reason that John Adams was sent away from Paris as an ambassador, because John Adams wasn't a party animal. And so the French were like, dude, this guy's kind of, got to stick up his ass. So I believe they sent him to the Netherlands instead. But yeah, everybody, Thomas Jefferson. Oh, he's so awesome. Nobody talks about John Adams. John Adams is one of the best presidents we've had in history, and they need to teach more about him. But because he didn't do what people like, they and like I said, he had the personality of a brown paper bag. People don't find him interesting, yet he was one of the few founding fathers that thought slavery was abhorrent, and he put his money where his mouth was, and he did not have slaves. But nobody talks about him.
I am going to say that I agree that John Adams is definitely one of the unsung heroes of, the early days of our country. That he does get overshadowed by the greatness that is George Washington, Jefferson, Franklin.
That guy who made
others.
the beer that everyone likes.
Exactly. Sam Adams.
Sam Adams.
Exactly. I am going to say this, and in defense of Thomas Jefferson, because I actually do feel like I need to say this, and you don't have to agree with me. Slavery is wrong just in general. No one's going to debate that. But looking at it back in that time period and considering the difficult questions that needed to be answered at the time of our nation's birth, the difficult decisions that needed to be made, and also the viewpoints of our founding fathers. Our founding fathers founded our country on the Roman Republic for a reason. And they borrowed heavily from the Romans on that, including the viewpoint of slaves. And I don't know if you've been there, Janelle. I used to think as you that it's like, yes, Thomas Jefferson was a great man, but he's still an asshole that he had slaves, until I went to Monticello.
I have not been to Monticello. I would love to go.
Monticello changed my mind.
I'm a fan of Jefferson myself.
Jefferson
Really?
did labor studies. He watched his slaves, his servants, how they worked, and he specifically built things into his house to be time savers, including tunnels running underneath the property, so that people didn't have to walk around in the snow and in Virginia's winters. He made sure that that families stayed together. Slaves could marry. Slaves could have little areas of their own. There's little living areas for the slaves where they could have their own little bit of earth, where they could have their own gardens, they can have their own everything. But it specifically, he had time and labor saving things put in specifically to make the job and the life easier on his people. And so, yes, he did own slaves. No, he didn't free them until he died, or I think until his wife died. No, most of them were freed until when he died, but there were some that were not freed until his wife died. And yes, there is that, and I'm not going to justify that. But he did things to make life there as humane and human as possible for them. And so that's why I felt I needed to defend that.
Well, I would go on another thing about slavery in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
They had a fucking war to fight.
Yeah.
They needed to keep the South to win that war,
Mm-hmm.
if they were going to win at all. And second, in the middle of a war, let's be honest, would you shut down all your factories because you don't like pollution?
No.
Oh, fuck no.
So why would you shut down all of your industry, which happened to be powered by slaves, in the middle of a goddamn war?
Well, I wasn't saying that during the war. I was saying after the war, the slaves should have been freed. I mean, if you're fighting a war, then right now you've got to worry about yourself and keeping the invader out of your land, or expunging the invader from your land.
Well, you know what else no one ever talks about after the freeing of the slaves?
What you have to do with them.
No, how much of this happened? I'll be honest with you, nobody talks about this. How much of this happened once they were freed?
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how much we have memory hold this, and that there was a reason a lot of them went back to their slave masters.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, William Silva has been saying stuff. He was posting stuff about that there's more proof now that they weren't Jefferson's kids. They were Jefferson's brother's kids or his nephew's kids. So that's interesting that they've actually found evidence that it wasn't him, which now makes a lot more sense. Because I mean, the history that I had learned was that they were his and Sally Hemings' kids, and you could tell because a lot of them had the red hair. So,
Okay.
but no, that actually makes a huge difference. And that actually, you telling me what you just told me about his land and how he built stuff does change my mind on him. I truly thought that he was a hypocrite. So to find out that he was actually much more sympathetic changes a lot.
There
I-
is a lot of complicated stuff regarding all of it. I mean, it's that's the problem, is there's not any real. I mean, you could say, "Oh, it was bad. They shouldn't have done it." All you want, but once it was done, it's the old thing. You know, you can't unfire the bullet. You can't unswing the sword. You can't unstab the hobo. Once it happens, then you have to figure things out. And that's where everybody ignores, is you have to sit there and go through it and figure it out. And everybody's like, well, it shouldn't have ever happened in the first place. Yeah, well, it did. And then they had to figure out what to do. And you have the whole, and then you just get into the trade itself, and it's like,
Yeah.
fuck. The slave trade was not what people think. You get into the whole fact that the Barbary Coast slavery was so bad that we formed the U.S. Marine Corps to take them down, and we fought wars to actually end. The U.S. and Britain fought wars to actually end that shit.
Mhm.
Or it would still be actually, and then you say, well, it's still going on today, and people just stare at you like you've gone crazy, and it's like, no, there's open air slave markets nowadays.
Yeah.
No, and I've had people just go, no, there's not.
Yeah, there is.
Saying no, there's not does not make it not true.
Look, the fact that people in our country today say that there's no slavery today, especially how cruel slavery was in the United States, 200, 300, 400 years ago, while there's child sex slave trafficking going on.
Oh, it's not
blows
even
my
that.
mind.
Go to Libya.
Oh, Tawaldi just said Libya.
Yeah, they just said
Go to Libya. They will cut your foot off.
Yeah.
They go out and they still castrate them.
Now, is it Libya or Syria that has the slave market that's been open for thousands of years, that they still auction slaves off every day? It's one of those two countries has the oldest slave market in the world.
I'm not sure. But
You don't understand, Janelle. That's part of their culture.
We can't judge.
I'm sorry. I'm white. I can't judge. That's right. I was born a racist.
Yeah, you can't judge. You don't know what their life's like. Maybe they just need those sex slaves and children.
God. Speaking of child sex slaves and Sound of Freedom.
Do we have to?
No.
Oh,
well, no,
okay.
because I want to talk about this because this just tells me how disgusting the left is.
Did you see it?
Not yet.
Okay.
Don't be mad. I really have to psych myself up as a parent.
I think you're going to be shocked how mild it is.
Janelle, I will say I felt the same way. In fact, I didn't want to see it in the theater. I wanted to see it, but I didn't want to do it in public until I found out it was PG-13, and I saw the trailer for it and realized that it was a drama, not a documentary. And once I got those two things to click in my head, I was okay with going and seeing it. And yeah, as a mother, it's probably going to hit you harder than me. And the only part that I had a problem with was the opening credits, because they had actual footage of kids being abducted, not dramatic reenactments. But I think you'll be okay.
Oh, Bjorn, yes, I know that the Italians and the Greeks were the white slaves of the Islamic trade. Nobody ever talks about that.
Nope.
What? Sorry, I missed that. What?
Oh, the Italians and the Greeks. There's many Europeans were victims of the Islamic slave trade, but there's no such thing as white slaves. the hypocrisy just is unreal. The thing about Sound of Freedom, though, is apparently one guy who gave to the Kickstarter to get the movie out there was charged with kidnapping. And it has now blown up into he paid for the entire movie, and he is also a trafficker.
Oh,
You know
did you
what?
hear
Trying to tear
exactly
this
what
movie
that?
down.
Did you hear exactly what that had to do with was?
No,
No.
I don't even know what the kidnapping was.
He gave $100 to a Kickstarter of a woman who or a GoFundMe of a woman who was running away from an abusive relationship.
Yeah, the left media. I didn't even hear about that part. I just heard that some guy was first. I heard that some guy was a trafficker, and he had funded to get the movie out. So this proves it was a QAnon conspiracy, and none of this child sex slave trafficking exists. This is all blown out of proportion. So of course I dug. So I was like, bullshit. And I heard or read on Twitter from people who had done the digging. One dude who gave $100 got charged with kidnapping, and that was it. Yeah.
That is, them making any mention of that is so fucking hypocritical, and I'll tell you why. In this day and age, with the way that movies are funded, I can promise you there isn't a fucking film in the theater that hasn't been funded by some goddamn pedophile or rapist.
Well, what about Disney?
No, I agree.
funding the slave, compound that they got to film in China?
Yeah, the way that films are made and the way they get their money, it's nigh impossible not to have a pedo's money in your film, especially if you go through Hollywood.
Oh yeah. No, I this was definitely a smear campaign to try and trash the film because it opened up so many people's eyes and really made Hollywood. I mean, I've never seen Hollywood panic like that before. That was fun to watch. That was just a treat. So yeah, they're trying everything to still smear this movie, and they're also going after Jason Aldean for Not in a Small Town.
Yeah,
They're saying that he's a coward because he was at the country festival performing when the shooter started gunning down people, and he ran to his trailer and cried for the rest of the day. And so he's actually a pussy and would never ever defend himself.
Those people have never been under fire from an M240B.
No.
I was just going to say, like, anybody who is shot at, that's going to be traumatizing as fuck. And the survivor's guilt. Not only that, he was performing. Holy shit.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Although I do the fact that there were people in the crowd standing up and flipping the shooter off.
I like the big bro looking dude. I mean, the dude looks like an ad for a frat house, and he's fucking pounding himself with the chest and walking into the fire yelling, "Shoot me, motherfuckers, shoot me."
Yeah.
And the dude tried. You can see the fucking pavement. You can see the fucking pavement cratering around him.
Oh my God! Please send me that clip. I want to see that.
I think you can find it on Twitter.
I want to make another point too. In California, there used to be, every time there was a gangster rap concert, there would be a shooting. Remember that? Do you guys remember that?
Oh yeah.
It wasn't just a shooting. There would be a couple of rapes in the crowd too. Icing on the cake.
And when the shooting happened, you would see everyone flee. In Las Vegas, when the Country Music Festival was shot at, did you see how many men got in front of their wives?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
I mean, what gets me is somebody took the audio from that and they checked it really heavily against a bump stock and an M240. And you look at the fucking acoustic, you look at the acoustic signature. That's not a bump stock, that's an M240. But of course, the guy who put the video up on Twitter, now his account suspended. We're never going to get answers about that. We're never going to find out a fucking thing about it. And what gets me,
I have the footage. I copied it when it was up.
The dude who was smacking himself in the chest and yelling, "Come on, shoot me, shoot me." That dude should have been on every fucking morning talk show.
Right.
He should have been, because he literally pulled fire. He literally pulled fire for a good 10, 15 seconds. And that is forever.
Right.
They didn't mention a fucking thing. You didn't have a single survivor on the fucking talk shows talking about it. Nothing. They memory hold that shit so fucking fast and hard, which is why I kind of believe the conspiracy theory that he was an FBI, ATF, DEA gun runner
I think
that
he was
decided
too.
to
Yeah.
I
lost a
agree.
little bit too much at the table.
So he got to, I guess, since he ran out of money, hey, we'll take care of your debt if you do this for us. Type
No,
deal.
I don't know if it's that far. I think I do think that he was a fucking asset that fucking that either went rogue or did exactly what he was told. Because holy shit, did they shut that shit down?
And then they said the guy killed himself, right? And that was
Yeah.
it. Nothing ever came from it after that.
Yep. They said he killed himself and then nothing else happened. We never heard another fucking thing. A lot of people don't know the case is closed.
Are you serious?
It's not an open case. It's a closed case. Yeah.
It,
Of course
it
it's
should still be
closed.
open.
You know, they didn't fucking look into you never heard where the weapons came from. You never heard where he got the weapons, how he got them in there, how he got, how he did any of it. You never hear any of that. But you'll hear everything about Dylan Roof.
Hey, I'm still wondering when we're going to hear about the trans shooters manifesto.
We're never going to see that.
Right.
No.
You're talking about the one that shot up the Christian school because she got mad at the pastor? Yeah, and decided to kill his family.
We're never going to hear about the dude who opened up on the 4th of July parade.
No.
And you know what? And they can't tell me that was a plan because he dressed up like a woman and didn't change his clothes till he was in the car. And I've said it before. I've always wondered, where are these bad credit having or no credit having people buying $15K worth of fucking gear? Where are they getting it?
Oh,
Because I don't know
the
about
kid
you.
in Uvalde.
Yeah. Fucking $15K worth of gear. Where the fuck are they getting it? They get it mailed to them. My ass, they did.
You can't get a gun mailed to you.
You can order parts, but there's certain parts you can't get.
Well, supposedly, I don't know. Supposedly, there are trans terrorist groups now that they don't want us talking about.
Oh, but
they're the worst terrorist groups ever because I haven't heard anything about them. A terrorist group needs publicity.
I've seen clips on TikTok about, was it Trans Day of Vengeance? And they talked about how they were going to massacre tons of children.
Yeah, but they didn't do shit. And a bunch of fucking idiots on TikTok talking shit doesn't impress me. I mean, anybody can make a TikTok claiming they're the fucking overlord of Earth with a 12-inch penis and they're going to run by everybody's houses and butt fuck the dog until its eyes bug out. Doesn't mean anything's going to happen.
These are also the same people who thought eating Tide Pods was a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me. They're like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. No, you're not. You're not doing shit. Okay? Because you want to know the real dangerous people? The real dangerous people are the ones that don't go on the internet and don't talk about what they're going to do. Those are the guys that are dangerous. The dude posting on Facebook about how he's going to fucking run in circles firing his gun in the air, he's an iffy one. Maybe. But the dude who's posting, with his flashing his weapons everywhere and, furiously masturbating to some cartoon and talking about how he's going to bring vengeance of the Lord upon the hippies of the Fifth Council. Nobody gives a shit, dude. Shut up.
And then there was the trans shooter that shot up a 7-Eleven.
No, I never heard that one.
And
yeah,
using a shotgun and didn't hit anybody.
Yeah.
How do you miss everyone in a 7-Eleven with a shotgun?
That's a good question.
You really suck.
One of the worst mass shootings.
On every roll.
One of the worst mass shootings for decades was when that dude walked into the McDonald's with a fucking 12 gauge, and that was in the 70s. And then the dude at Luby's that came into the Luby's restaurant with a pistol and a shotgun and just fucking unloaded. Notice you never hear about those.
Yeah.
No,
Actually, I haven't heard about those.
That McDonald ones was fucking terrible. Because he came into an enclosed area where people were sitting down with a shotgun. And the guy in Luby's drove his truck through the fucking front of Luby's and got out with a pistol and a shotgun and just unloaded.
It was in San Bernardino? Shit.
I think, yeah. They
I
don't.
didn't live far from there then.
You didn't hear about that at all. I can't remember what the body count was on that one. What does it say?
I don't know. It was just Undead Ramen said that it was in San Bernardino.
Yeah.
I wonder how close to the narco bank heist that took place at.
That's quite a distance.
It's
No,
a
no,
lot.
time frame.
Oh, time
A
frame.
lot.
Time frame.
A lot, actually.
So
I think
this was in the
I think the
70s?
7-Eleven. Yeah, I think it was in the 70s.
Because
So
the only San Bernardino shooting I remember is when the 2 Islamic terrorists opened fire at a Christmas party.
Now they weren't Islamic terrorists. They were disgruntled postal workers.
yeah,
Sorry, my bad.
and it was a pure coincidence that they picked a Jewish school.
Shit.
Pure coincidence.
It's just coincidence, man.
Flip the coin and everything.
It had nothing to do with religion or race whatsoever.
I think that's the thing that pisses me off about nowadays is they fucking stand right there and lie to you
Yeah, the thing
and
is,
then expect you to trust them later.
yeah, the thing is trust in government and media is so low now that, I mean, they've blown it every step of the way. No one trusts doctors anymore. No one
Nope.
trusts experts. No one trusts
Nope.
pharmaceuticals.
No.
Nobody
'cause-
trusts NASA. Nobody trusts.
Because they all took money.
Yeah.
I said it on Twitter. NASA could trot out an alien on live TV and have a Q&A with them. And I'd be like, this is some fucking dipshit in a suit.
Well, the thing is they really were trying to use aliens as the next big distraction, and they blew it.
Yeah.
And they blew it really hard because they had made Tom DeLonge of Blink-182 their stooge. And Podesta, John Podesta, Clinton's campaign manager? Was that what he did?
Yeah.
John Podesta had been working on DeLonge since the 90s, prepping him for this. Yeah, I shit you not, because WikiLeaks actually released the hacked emails.
What
And-
really fucked it up is they didn't realize that the aliens could show up and go, we're going to kill all your leaders. And we'd be like, okay.
Cool.
Well-
Can I help?
They really just... Tom DeLonge was not very sharp. He fell for it all. And what he was supposed to do is have everyone realize he was trying to tell everyone the aliens were the threat and that we all had the wrong view of the government, that the people behind the scenes have been so quiet and doing all these sneaky things because they're protecting us from the aliens. That was his pitch.
Oh.
And he blew it so bad on Joe Rogan that immediately, you noticed we don't talk about it anymore. DeLonge just vanished. Nobody gives a shit.
What are they protecting us from?
Oh, the aliens.
But what are the aliens going to do if they don't protect us?
Exactly.
Are they going to molest our kids? Are they going to burn our fucking farmland and food factories? Are they going to burn down our homes? Are they going to raise our rent?
Yeah.
Are they going to raise our utilities?
Are they gonna lay eggs in our chests?
I think that they're so fucking disconnected from reality that, waving the sparkly thing in front of us isn't working.
Well,
Well-
not only that, but almost every scenario we've already seen played out, on the big screen.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the other thing is to distract the toddler. You jingle the keys in front of him, keep it out of reach. You don't run up and scream "booyah" and then fucking slant and then spike the keys into the toddler's face, which is what they do.
Tom DeLonge was trying to spread a narrative that was basically Independence Day. That was his job, and he fucked it up.
Well, you got it. Number one, you have to tell us how they're threatening us. Number two, you have to give us a reason why you couldn't tell us. You know how many people would join the military to shoot an alien in the ass?
I would.
I mean, that
Not
shit
gonna
would be
lie.
that shit would be Warhammer 40K fucking Emperor of Mankind in minutes.
Yeah.
The Emperor protects.
They bring out these things. Oh, we're gonna release the Trump mugshot. That shit will be on a T-shirt in 10 minutes. And we're gonna use aliens. Oh, we're gonna use climate change. We're gonna use this. We're gonna use that. It's not distracting us anymore because you can only jangle the keys for so long before the baby's like, I am really unhappy.
Well, the other one is, I don't know. They had this down in the 90s. I don't know why they would fuck this up. as long as the American public is comfortable, we don't give a shit.
No,
Because they got rid of the competent people like Doty.
they got rid of the bread is full of mold and the circus is a clown shitting himself.
Yeah. I mean, as long as we were comfortable and thought nothing was going on, we were happy to watch the X-Files and say, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, what's your circuses now? Disney sends out people who tell you they hate you, don't watch their movies, and they pick people with whose eyes are too far apart. You know, we've got Off-White and the Seven Genders. You know, thanks. You know, I mean,
that new Snow White movie. Just on an aside, the chick that's playing Snow White said that the prince has always been a creepy stalker. Apparently, that's what he's going to be in the movie.
Nobody cares. Off-White, go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Off-White.
Well,
I mean,
I was gonna go back to that Tom DeLonge interview. I tried to watch that Joe Rogan interview.
You tried to?
Yeah, and he was so off the wall, and he kept sniffling, and I was like, he must be coked the fuck out. I couldn't get through it. I maybe lasted a half an hour.
It was obvious he was saying the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's gotten to the part where everybody knows this shit's a distraction. You know, they find cocaine in the Biden White House. Trump gets fucking indicted. Massive, fires from all kinds of fucking food production factories. Oh, aliens exist. A derailment fucking toxifies parts of Ohio for the next 200 years. Oh, aliens exist. Nobody fucking cares anymore. We literally don't.
We've known aliens exist since we were born, so fuck off.
If an alien showed up my lawn, I'd be like, you need to keep on moving because this here's a human town. Be about as much as I'd say. Like, would you like a ride on my spaceship? I'm not sucking your dick. Get out.
Janelle, Rolf, if you're interested, I've got a link up on the screen right now that explains everything. It's really well done. It's a short documentary about
but then I'd have to go in the house.
Oh, okay. About how he fucked up disclosure.
And then, they're just, and what's worse is their distractions are trite and boring.
Right.
They're like, oh, aliens exist and we're going to release this footage. Nobody fucking cares. Okay. If they can't even, they have all this technology and they can't even use it to make the distraction interesting. I mean, the war in Ukraine. Oh, you're supposed to still support Ukraine. Fuck them potato snatchers. Oh, this is going on. Don't care. It's just repeat over and over. Don't care. It's really hard to care when I go to the store and the piece of fucking meat that cost me fucking $6 3 years ago is $25. It's really hard to fucking care. And then the whole thing now is they're trying to cover up the, we might have to do staged blackouts in California to make sure that the electricity is handed out equitable.
Oh, what's
Wait,
new?
is that their excuse now?
Yeah, they're gonna do selected blackouts.
Well, they've been doing the rolling blackout since 2000, but the fact that that's now their excuse to make sure that it's equitably distributed.
And I love the fact that the CEO of Ford Motors got in the electric pickup truck and couldn't do his fucking PR thing of driving it because it ran out of electricity and then it wouldn't charge.
Good.
Fuck their distractions. I mean, they fucked up football. Nobody watches football anymore because they fucked that shit up. Nobody watches basketball. They fucked that shit up. Nobody watches movies anymore because they fucked that up. Nobody cares about music anymore because they fucked that up. They one by one they walked out and shot each of the clowns in the back of the fucking head.
Again, they had it down in the 90s. They kept us comfortable, dumb, and happy, and no one paid attention. I don't know why they're deciding, let's make everyone miserable now.
Because they think they're on the edge of victory. That, and they really do believe that if you can't see it, if they ban you off the internet, you cease to exist. Oh, well, if they're not on the internet and can't spread their hate speech, they'll have to change their mind to get back on the internet. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
No.
So many people have left social media because they were tired of that bullshit. Oh, great. I
Yeah.
got canceled. Who fucking who? Moving on with my life.
Oh, I got
it's kinda
suspended from
funny.
Twitter
Yeah.
again.
You know what's kind of funny about that is the WF keeps saying, there might come a day where social media will just disappear and go to a break. And, that's going to cause great chaos. And my thought is, no, not really. I think that would be a great thing to happen.
Well, they've already shown that TikTok literally causes brain damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it's been proven that it's actually made children and teenagers more dumb than SpongeBob did. And SpongeBob was proven to make kids stupid.
That I haven't heard. That's interesting.
Yeah.
They actually
SpongeBob
did a
makes you
study
dumb.
that, yes, SpongeBob, not the first couple of seasons, but as it kept going, like the later seasons, it actually made you more stupid.
Yeah, but SpongeBob was really aimed at ravers who came home at like 2 a.m, high on E, right?
Yes, it was original. It was supposed to be like Ren and Stimpy and Beavis and Butthead. It wasn't really necessarily aimed for kids. It was aimed for teenagers and young adults.
Yeah, it wasn't intended for the sober.
Yeah, no. It takes place on fucking Bikini Bottom and the Bikini Atoll. They're all mutated sea creatures from the hydrogen bomb.
Yep.
So, yeah, the whole thing about the social TikTok actually making people have attention deficit disorders, serious ones like the likes of which we've never seen before. It's like, look, we regulate cigarettes so kids won't smoke them.
Yeah.
I think TikTok needs the same treatment.
Oh, you heard about the new thing? I
What?
mean, and this is absolutely fucking great. And it just went straight out of my brain right when I opened my mouth. God damn it. TikTok, stupid shit. Oh, they found out that you know a lot of problem that businesses are having. Gen Z won't talk to people on the phone. They only
Really?
want to text or email them
Actually, that's part of my job.
because they have a phobia against talking on the phone.
Jesus.
No, that's not
What's the
frightening.
percentage of that?
I think they said it's up to 60% of the Gen Zers employed in the workforce won't make phone calls because of phobia.
Well, you know what? Tough. We all had to do things that made us uncomfortable. I remember being told essentially, wish in one hand and crap in the other and see what piles up first.
Yeah,
Jesus, how many times did my parents say that to me?
wish in one hand, shit in the other, and see which one you can eat out of.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
But I mean, it just gets me. How weak are you? You can't talk on the phone. I don't like to talk on the phone because I'm an antisocial asshole. But it gives me anxiety. Nobody cares, Squidward.
Yeah. Nobody fucking cares.
We
And no
all
one's gonna
experience
save you.
anxiety.
So, I mean, I can get not wanting to have your phone. I mean, the idea of people calling you when you're out and about enjoying yourself sounds really fucking annoying. But
that whole thing of companies being like, you have to have your cell phone on you 24/7. Then you're paying me 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
One of the two.
I refuse. I will not. The phone can stay at home like it always has. I got along with most of my life with the phone being on a desk or on a wall. I'll be okay.
You're supposed to give these companies your social media accounts, including your password.
Well, they
So they can go through it.
Bullshit.
Like, no.
Thank you. I'll go
Seriously,
look
they
for a
can
job
suck a dick.
someplace else.
But no, seriously, if social media were to go down, I don't think it would be the chaos they all claim it would be. I think actually it would be great for kids.
Oh yeah.
Read a fucking book. Go outside.
They'd have DTs for about a month and,
I'd say a week.
a week.
I'd say a week and a half.
Yeah. And then, we'd all get on with our lives.
My son hates social media. He refuses to get on it because he's heard Steve and I talk about how much we hate it. But he says the kids at his school, all they talk about is TikTok. They don't do anything else. And he also told me that the people he knows at school don't hang out after school. They go home and they hang out on Discord and talk. So they're not even hanging out with each other face to face. Like, we all used to go to the fucking mall or the coffee shop. These kids literally go on Discord and hang out.
The mall, the coffee shop, or just the alleyway behind the supermarket with all the beer bottles.
Yeah.
Oh, come on,
Yeah,
that's true.
Who the hell goes to the mall? Going to the mall is asking to get mugged. Go
Not
inside.
here.
Not here. Especially like in San Diego, Fashion Valley Mall is for the wealthy, and they have security and police all over there. You're safe there.
But the other mall's not safe.
Mission Valley. No.
Mission Valley is gonna
God.
fuck you.
Yeah.
The other mall, they shoot at you in the parking lot.
Yes, actually.
The very last time we were at the Mission Valley Mall, it was sketchy.
Yeah, sketchy's a word.
It felt unsafe, which was weird because you step outside the mall,
And
everything's
fine.
fine.
It's just in.
You
the
step
mall.
in and suddenly it's like, did I just walk into a hood?
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was having flashbacks to being in Los Angeles. Now here, the malls are
For us.
a necessity because it's a free place with air conditioning when it's 115 outside. So the malls here are actually fine.
It's almost entirely people our age or moms with kids
Mhm.
using the free playground
Yeah.
inside
Yeah.
the indoor playground. That's the mall here.
Steve and I would drive all the way out to Parkway Plaza to have Chris play at the playground when he was a toddler, in the summertime especially. But here in California, the malls aren't, or the indoor malls aren't having the air conditioning go as much, so it's kind of hot in the malls now
Okay.
too.
Janelle, do you remember the era when you could go to just about any mall and you'd eventually hit that corner where there was an emergency exit, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And there would be a bunch of goths sitting there smoking cigarettes and listening to their Walkman.
Yeah, I was hanging out with them.
That was like every mall.
Yeah. And you go inside to the food court if you got thirsty, and you get a big old drink, and you would just hang out. Or sometimes you'd go into Suncoast to find anime, or you'd go into like Sam Goody. I don't know. I spent a shit ton of time at the music
Walden's.
store. Yeah.
Walden's.
Walden's.
bookstore.
Dalton.
Or the comic store.
Yep.
Or you went to one of those. You're female. You probably didn't do this because it wouldn't have the same impact. Or you went into the Victoria's Secrets or the Fredericks until they kicked you out.
No, I didn't do that.
Last time I went to the mall, I had a guy offer to sell me a gun out of his trunk. He had like a dozen different guns, and
Holy
he was a mover and shaker because he said he took EBT. He took EBT for 50 cents on the dollar.
Jesus.
You got to admire that kind of hustle.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I was like, I think I'm done going to the mall.
Okay, how about this? Do you remember heckling the security guards at the mall? Did you do that?
Yes.
No, because they used to put a fist in your face back in the day.
See, that's where you lived. They couldn't do that, but in Southern California, you'd get the high school kid who just graduated and got his security guard job, and you'd go in and just waste his time.
Shit, it was our friend Maddie.
Yeah, we'd keep
Remember, Maddie was the security guard for a while.
Yeah, we'd go in and just keep asking him questions.
Yeah.
All ours were these ex-Vietnam dudes who really, really wanted to stomp a mud hole in someone's ass.
I wouldn't mess with them. I wouldn't mess with them at all. That sounds dangerous.
I mean, those dudes acted like they were walking the bush, man. I mean, their heads were on a swivel, their hands like right by their pistol, and they're looking around. Fuck that. The one time I fucked up, they got me up in the office and beat the shit out of me.
Oh my god.
God.
They didn't care. This is back in the day when the cops would throw you across the hood and hit you like twice in the kidneys with their fucking
Yeah, that's
tonfa.
true. Yeah.
And nobody cared. I mean, I was like 12 and came out of the fucking cop shop with my face fucked up. First words out of my dad's mouth were, "Mouthed off to the cops, didn't you?"
I've told this story before, but I remember once we were running around with a video camera, And the excuse was always, it's a project for school.
Mhm.
And we'd gone up to a high school kid who had just become a security guard. And it was, hi, this is a project for school. We're asking you questions about your job. You're, oh, okay. So, like, what do you do if like somebody's trying to steal something? Well, I notify the main office and call for backup. Well, what I wasn't asking the questions. What if he's black? What would you do then?
Oh God.
Well, I would call for backup. It wouldn't matter if he's black. Well, what if his name was Rodney and he'd
Oh, geez, that's right. That's post Rodney King.
Oh, you did. That's great. Back when you could get away with that shit, and people would either just be like, "You're an asshole, stop it," or "That was the funniest shit I've ever
they'd
seen."
start laughing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, did you guys see what happened when they tried to put a robot in the mall to act as a cop?
Oh, did it get
Yes.
abused?
No, it drove into the fountain and killed itself. Yeah, it just drove into the fountain and killed itself.
Oh my.
Well, apparently
Wow.
in California, they've unveiled these new robots that I guess they've got 360 camera on them. So they ID people on the street.
Oh God.
It's like, yeah, that robot's going to make it 30 fucking seconds. Somebody's going to throw a blanket over that fucking thing and beat it to death.
A balloon with paint in it.
God, that reminds me. Did you guys see that they're actually paying for and are sold out of misery tours of San Francisco with all the needle-strewn streets and all the hobos on the.
Yeah, I saw that it's
Wait,
sold
they have
out.
misery
Yeah, it's
tour?
sold out.
People are
Wow.
actually doing misery tourism.
Yes,
That's
and it's
actually
sold
very
out.
gross. Oh God, there it is. A suiciding robot.
Yeah, Robbie couldn't
Oops.
handle it.
Nope.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, what was it?
Robbie couldn't make it a full day on the job before he threw himself in the pond.
You know,
was
I
it
swear
Marvin
that-
was the suicidal robot? And the
Yeah, it's
hitchhiker's
Marvin. I
guide
take
didn't
it back.
count?
It's Marvin. It was
Marvin.
Marvin.
Let's
I
say you guys
swear
see
to
what
God,
happened.
Robot
you guys-
trucks can do the same thing.
Have you seen what happens to the fucking delivery bots? They
Yeah,
go
they
rolling
get
by and
air
somebody
stomped.
they just rip them off.
Yeah. I said that would happen. I predicted no one would have any trouble vandalizing or robbing a robot.
No.
People will have problems with robbing other humans or abusing other humans if they're decent. They have a problem with that. But nobody feels bad for a goddamn robot.
Nope.
Well, that's like the Amazon drones. People were shooting those down.
Well, that's because they were annoying.
Yeah. But it's
I'm
like,
glad people shot them down.
well, the ones that delivered packages, people were shooting them out of the air to steal the package. It's like, can you imagine wasting $5 in ammunition to get somebody's like tampons or something? I'd be pissed. But yeah, robot. They've got these new anti-crime robots that just roll around. There was another one where the woman was attacked in a park and she ran up to the robot and was yelling, "Help me! Help me! Help me!" Call the cops, and it wouldn't do anything. So she kicked it and it tased her.
Where was this?
I want to say like the UK or some shit, but rolling out robots to help police humans has not been working well.
No. Well, come on. If it's the UK, the fact that 2/3 of their spy cameras that they have all over the country aren't functional.
Well, there was also the automated cars. They were testing them. Is that?
Oh,
was it
yeah.
Google?
I can't remember who was testing it, but you set an orange road cone down in front of it and one behind it, and now it's stuck forever.
Yeah.
People were finding them so obnoxious and such bad drivers. They were always cutting people off or riding the tails of cars that people actually were stopping in traffic and getting out and vandalizing them. And there were two cases. There was one where a birthday clown was so mad he got out to get in a fight and saw that there was no one in the vehicle and just started beating on it with one of his juggling pins. And there was another one where a biker got so pissed off because it cut him off that he took a chain to it. He parked in front of it, took a chain to the damn thing.
Well, if you want to
Damn.
trap it, all you need is two traffic cones. Once you get it stopped, you put the traffic cone about 5 feet in front of it. Then you run around behind it and put a traffic cone 5 feet behind it, and now it's stuck there forever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
It can't move.
darn.
I actually saw a good scene with a fucking self-driving car in a horror movie.
Yeah.
She jumped in the self-driving car and told it to go, and the killer went up there and sawed her fucking head off, and the car drove off.
What movie was this?
One of the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies.
Okay, that's funny.
Nice.
That shit was great.
All right. Well, Janelle said she had to go to bed at 9:30.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's 10 o'clock, Janelle.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed, guys.
So
Good night, everybody.
once again, good night, everyone.
Yes.
Buy our books. Links in the description.
Mhm.
And when's your next book coming out, Ralts?
Don't know.
Oh, okay.
The art's in the final detail phase, so probably 2 weeks for the cover. Probably. Well, if the cover's on time, 2 weeks. Probably 3 to 4 weeks.
And once again, Boobs of Steel. It's available on Amazon. Please leave a review.
Yep.
And Ralts, what do we say?
What do we say? Don't step on any dicks.
Yeah.